Okay, we're in the middle of the sugya of hasmana, being going ahead and Bezdin summoning people to Bezdin, and we're up to Kuf Yud Beis Amid Beis, 4 lines in the bottom. Ravina, Hai Shlucha di Rabbanon. Rashi says Shaholach lahasmin ish ledin. He's the one who's in charge of subpoenaing people to come. The Chazar Bezdin and writes a lava, and he comes back and he says the guy doesn't want to come. So they're going to put him in chayrim. Remember, if the guy doesn't want to come, they're going to put him in chayrim. We're going to believe this guy as if he's tuedis, right? So then he's believed to put this guy in chayrim. That's provided to put in chayrim. Al the pesichya, to go ahead and write a star pesichya. That's a star of right. That's a star of excommunication. Since it's going to cost this guy money. What they would do is the cipher would write the star. The guy would they rip it up? They'd have to pay the cipher the price for ripping it up. So when it comes to Al Pishnayim and Yakim Davar, when it comes to Dinei Mamanis, you need two. So to say that he believed that the guy doesn't want to come, to put him in chayrim, that you would believe, but to write the star specifically not. The Kabbalah Meisavle, the Suzei L'Safa. You're gonna have to give the money to the Safa for ripping it up. Amar Avina. Yavina and Zimna Apuma. So you can go ahead and give a hasmana. You heard about hasmana. On Puma of a woman can do the job. You know, you don't need an official shliach. A woman can do the job. A Puma the shivavi, and a Puma of the neighbor. Right? You know, if it's a woman is believed, and also the shivave. Right? These are people who live in the neighborhoods. Listen. You're in the neighborhood. You're going to be there. Go ahead and tell the person that we're coming to Bezdin, and they stay there. The person doesn't come, we'll put him in chayrim. The less than masa. If the guy is not in the city, I've listened to masa loy. If he's in the city, then we don't put him in chayrim. These people, right? Because they're not going to do the shlichus. We'll say they didn't do it to him. We'll say that they didn't do the job. In other words, if the person is in the city, if the person is right in the city. And now the same place, then they're going to be believed. Aval issa b'masa, but if he's in the same city, like we won't go ahead and put him in chayrim based upon the woman or the neighbors. The amrina we say emalei amalei. We'll say they never said anything to him. The amar ashachinu shlicha the bezdin v'amalei. In other words, since he's in the city, the shliach bezdin will find them. We won't have to do it. In other words, this is a reason that they'll be pischein peh not to do the job. So if they're in the city, they'll say the Shliach Bezdin will do the job. So therefore, we don't believe them. That's also that the person who is going to be Muslim Bezdin doesn't pass by Bezdin. We don't believe them because they're going to figure and say, well, the guy's going to pass Bezdin anyway. Bezdin, go ahead and summon him to Bezdin. Bezdin will find him. So in other words, when is the woman believed? That's if the guy's not in town or he doesn't pass by Bezdin. Another caveat. During the day. If during the day they believe, but at night already, where night's going to pass, we don't believe them. We're going to say they forgot to go ahead and give the asmana. You know, these aren't professionals, and okay, if you're in the neighborhood, go ahead and take care of it. At nighttime sale, we're going to forget. Amar Rabbi, says Rabbi. A person that they wrote of a star of Shamta of putting him in chayrim because he didn't come to the Bezdin. Until he comes to Bezdin, we're not going to rip it up. However, if there was a star written that he didn't listen to the court, they gave him psak din. Until he listens to the court, we won't rip it up. It's a difference. Even the Amit Soisina, since he said, I'll listen to you, Karina will go ahead and we'll rip it up. Because over here we can have a limit schus. Rashi says, look at the reason. Loihi says Rashi, Even the Amar did Soisina and Karana la alta immediately. The Dilma less lezu say maybe the guy doesn't have money. Hashta v'tarach. Alabas ladina kol kamad layasi apkarusahi. In other words, if the guy says he's going to come to Bezdin, and we wrote him a star of communication of Shamta because he doesn't come to Bezdin. There is no reason to rip it up until he comes to Bezdin. Until he Masha'en came, he says he's going to listen to Bezdin. There's a reason to rip it up, right? Why? Because really he just wants to buy some time. So if you give him time, we would rip it up because it would give him time to go ahead and get the money together. Amrav Chesed Chista Koivin Zman Sheni v'Chamishi v'Sheni. We go ahead. The Hasmana we give 3 days to come. Monday, Thursday, Monday. Zimna v'zimna basa mana. Because zimna, one has mana, another has mana, and the third has mana. And after the third has mana, the Tuesday after the Monday, we'll go ahead and write up the shtab sichta. That puts him chayrim. Vasi ikla be Rav Kahana. Vasi came to Rav Kahana. Chosia, he is to say, saw this woman, the Azam Ladina Bepanya. She saw a woman who Rav Kahana said to come to court the next day. But Safik Sivila B'Sichon, she didn't come in the morning, and therefore right away he wrote the shtar. So the question is, Amalei Vasi to Rav Kahana, like Sivila Mar Lahodam Rav Chisda. Don't you look Rav Chisda that Koivin Zman Sheni Chemish V'Sheni we give a bahab. So you're doing it right after one night. Amalei, listen, that's Hani Mili the Garva the honest for less of the mas. That's a person who is possible that we has money and he hasn't a chance to come. He's in business, he's on the road. Mashenkin Avalissa, so he's in the house. Kim in the Issa of Masala Yasha. She doesn't come, my read this. If she's not going to come right away, she's my read this. So this din of Bahab is only sebat for the man, but for the woman who's around. Now let's say the woman's a businesswoman, or the man is found in the city, then the same halacha would apply. I'm Rabbi Yehuda. We don't give a hasmana to come to Bezdin, not the Yom Nis, not Yom Tishrei. These are times of the harvest. In Sukkot time they harvest, and Pesach time they harvest. So since you harvest at these times, you're not going to go, hey, he's too busy to come to Bezdin, don't send the hasmana. Right? And in addition, another time you don't send the hasmana is Leib Mali Yom Toiva, not on Erev Yontif. Leib Mali Shabbos, not on Erev Shabbos. Okay, so therefore you don't send the hasmana these times. Avo, B'Nissen Lebasa Yom Nissen, to send the hasmana for Iyar, or Yom Tishrei Lebasa Tishrei for Cheshrin, that kavina that you would do. Mimali Shabbat Lebasa Mali Shabbat. However, to send it on Friday that it should come on Sunday, like kavina that you won't do. My timer. If the Shabbat Torah is busy while you're working for Shabbos, so when it comes to the harvest, you'll go ahead and do that as money for the next month. When it comes to Shabbos, you're not going to go ahead right and do that. Rav Nachman, lo yavinas mano, we don't give a hasmana. Lo b'nei kala b'kala, lo b'nei rigla rigla. The kala was the weekly shmuz they would give, and the rigla was 30 days before the chag they would darshan. So you don't go ahead and give the hasmana. You figure like this. Listen, you know what? You have to find the guy. He's going to be there, right? So guess what? If he knows you're going to give it to him, guess who's going to be in exit stage left, right? Little snagglepuss. He won't be there at all. So therefore, we don't do it to ensure that that'll be there. I did that snagglepuss for Kenny. Anyway, when the people come from the Nachman on the day of the Kala, they would want that he should give a hasmana. We told them, you think the people gathering here together for you? They come to hear my share. I'm not going to go ahead and give them hasmana. However, Bismana said that the people will go there to avoid hasmanas. In other words, they know that if you go there, you're not going to get a hasmana. So they're going shaloi l'shma, then chashinon, and therefore we would even give a hasmana at that time. Okay, going back to the Mishnah, a regular scheduled program. So we have two pshatim, guys, right? If the object is an object that is recognizable, and people will know it's a gazela. They remember the case of the shayfer, right? It's a shayfer that they know belongs to this person. Then we'll go ahead and we will return it. Then we'll go ahead and we will return it. However, another pshat was even if the father left the machrayis and then the chosnam on meshubet to pay off the gazela, then the kids have to pay off the gazela. Mastila Rebbe Rav Shimon Berei. Rebbe taught Rav Shimon his son. What's pshat in yesh dava sheish b'achrayis? Loy dava sheish b'achrayis mamish. It doesn't mean he left over karka. Elafilu para b'chorish ba. Even a para, a cow that he plows with, chamor umachm rachav, or donkey which he walks behind it. Vayavim lahachsim they covered aviyim. They'll be chayv to go ahead and return it because the cover of the father. Because everyone know that it's his par. Everyone will know that it's his donkey. So therefore, if it's something good know that you know what it is, you have to return it. So that's the way he learned pshat achrayas. Achrayas means it's like karka, it's recognizable, but it's not speaking about the repayment. Again, it's speaking about the dova hanigzel, speaking about the thing that was stolen. If it's something that's so clear cut that it belongs to what the father, the person, then in that case, you're going to go ahead and return it. Boy minei Rav Kana me Rav mita umesif aleha. Let's say the father, he robbed a bed. The beds they used to eat. They would lie down or shulchan v'oichelov, the shulchan that would eat upon. Mahu, what's the din? Is that the din of what of a para, that it's something recognizable, and a chamor it's something recognizable? So Malay, Rav said, Tein l'chacham yechkamoid. Of course it is. It's Rashi says, Tein l'chacham v'yechkamoid. Says Rashi, Kipar v'chamar kein mita v'shulchan. It's the same thing. In other words, it's like a no-brainer. That this would be considered something that you have to return. Says the Mishnah. Okay, Kenny, you have a good Shabbos. Merry Yisrael. Thank you for coming on.
Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Thank you.
Great to see you. Okay, says the Mishnah. Important loy mi tevas hamoichsin, v'loy mi kis shel gabayim. Now, a moiches is a person who is a Jewish person and he's collecting customs. He's a customs collector. Moiches shel gabayim, mi kis shel gabayim, and these are what? These are tax collectors. They collects the head tax and the land tax, and you don't go ahead and take from them. You know why? Because they're in the known as gazlanim. They're in the gazlanim. They steal. They're stealing money. So you go ahead and you're going to be nana from their money. You can't do it. So therefore, they used to change coins, right? You have denominations, a silver denomination, put it to copper or vice versa. Don't do it because you're going to be dealing with coins that were stolen. Okay. You don't take tzedakah from him. They shouldn't think that they're giving you tzedakah, that they're getting off the hook for what they did. But if it's not in the pushka, it's not in the thing that they go ahead and collect from, then you will be able to go ahead and do it, because then it's his own money. If it's no money, it's not a problem. Again, we're speaking here about a Jewish guy. I just need. Okay, so the din of the Mishnah is that you don't go ahead and deal with these tax collectors, these customs collectors, because we assume that what they have in their possessions is gazela. Let's say you owe $1. Let's say you owe 50 cents and you only have $1. Then you could give them $1 and take 50 cents change. That you could do. So the question is the following. The assumption is that these guys are official tax collectors of the king. And they're not stealing, they're just collecting taxes. And you can't, tax evasion, according to Dina Malchus Dina, is not permitted. Again, it's very beyond the scope of this share exactly. It's a huge sugya. But again, avoiding, what you're doing over here, why would you think that what they have in their hands is Geneva? The assumption is what they have in possession is what the king told them, and that's not Geneva. They took taxes from you according to the letter of the law, and you have to pay taxes. So Rav Chanina bar Kahana Amar Shmuel, but Moiches shein lekitzva. We're speaking about the tax collector is not a set amount, so he collects whatever he'll over tax and take a little bit for himself. That's gazela. The Rabbi Yami, but Moiches oimim me'elav. It's a self-appointed tax collector. And even if it's a dava kitzvah, a set amount, since he appointed himself, it's not in the machusadina. So therefore, what he has in his possession, we could view as gazela. Now, those who apply this machlokes Reb Chanina that it's speaking about a moiches she'en lekitzvah, or Reb Yanai says it's a self-appointed moiches, we learn on the following. It's a Mishnah in Kalayim. Well, yilbish adam Kalayim afilu agabi asar begadim lavriach boyas hameches. So this guy goes he's in Macy's and he puts on 10 garments, right? And one of the garments on top of it, what is the shatnez? Don't do it. Don't put it on. Don't put it on. Now, why would we be wearing all these things? It seems to be you want to beat the customs. You want to beat the tax, right? So whatever's on your back, they're not going to charge you, or they'll think you're wearing one piece of clothing, whatever it is. There's 2 points over here. There's a Yeridei Dikadin of shatnez, and it's a choshen mishpat din of mammon. So regarding the din of kalayim, right? We said that you can't do it. Don't wear kalayim, even if the purpose of kalayim is to beat the taxes. Masnisan like Rabbi Akiva, the Tanya, asalav as a meches. Right? That Rabbi Akiva says it's asa to go ahead and avoid taxes. And Rav Shimon, Rabbi Akiva, muta lavriach as a meches. Rav Shimon, the Talmud Rabbi Akiva says, yeah, it's muta. So Bishleim in Kalayim b'hakam iflagi, whether you wear Kalayim or not. The Masava Davar Shem Eskavin Mutta like of Shimon. Of Shimon b'chol Torah Kula Davar Shem Eskavin is Mutta. Therefore, he wasn't Eskavin for what for the Kalayim. Therefore, he'd be Mutta. I say it's Psik Reisha. I in Toisvis Chav Talid Chav Tesam and Beis and Shabbos. It says it's not a Psik Reisha because again he doesn't need this to cover himself. He has something else covering himself. Umasava, he's protected from the sun and the cold by other garments. So this is totally what a mechastika situation. So Davashem miskavin being mutter, and therefore it's not a kalayim problem. Umasava Davashem miskavin also, again, you're not miskavin for the kalayim, miskavin for the mechas. So like the kalayim, that's machloikas to depend upon what Davashem miskavin. Elavias ameches. Rav Kiva says, according to Rav Shimon, you could go ahead and escape the tax collector. Mishari, Vamashmuel Dina Malchusadina. So how can you escape the tax collector? So Rav Chanina Bar Kahana Amashmuel b'moiches she'ein lekitzva, and Rav Yanai says b'moiches noimim elav. So again, machloikas we're applying what to over there in that venue. Viki the Masli Ahad. There are those who learn it on this. Now we had a sugya in Nidarim, Nidrei Einsin. It's a neder that you're forced to make. In other words, you make it out before it's you don't have to revoke that neder, right? Because you really didn't mean the neder. So noijin laharagin, people will kill you, ulacharamim, people will steal your money, ulamaiksin, and tax collectors. Why do they say? They come to their house and they say, "Oh, we want this produce, and if you don't give it to us, we'll kill you." And what do? You say, "She shall truma." By the way, it's truma. Guess what? Right? They'll kill you, but guess what? So it's in from a mention, right? Shehi shall base melech. You could make an eder that it belongs to the king. Afa pisheinu shall truma pisheinu shall melech. Right? And you could do this to avoid it. How can you make a ned like that to the meichsim, to the tax collectors? From a shmul's of the opinion, dina malchusa dina. So how could you avoid it? So from Chanina bar Kana Shmuel, b'moiches shein lekitzva, b'reyani yami b'moiches sh'amid me'elav. So again, we apply this teretz three different ways, either as-sugya, kshatna sugya, or on the Dorim Dika sugya. Rav Ashi Yoma, the Mishnah is not speaking about a Jewish tax collector, it's speaking about Moiches Kanani, it's speaking about a tax collector that is a Kanani. The Tanya, Yisrael v'Kanani Anos. A Yisrael and a Kanani that is an Anos. He goes ahead and he forces himself upon people. Now it's very interesting over here because I have over here, I use this Mesifta to go ahead and prepare this Vishinamtam, and it seems to be that this thing, the din of this honest, the word honest could have been put in by a censor. It could have been put over here by the censor. They put it in to cover up the following Gemara, okay? As we'll see in a second. So you have a Yisrael Kanani, Shabol Din, they come into court. If in Jewish court you're able to be victorious over this guy Anas, Zakeo, go to Jewish court. If you're able to be victorious over him, the guy in the Goyish court, Zakeo, and if you can't win in court, then you can do harama. Then you could go ahead and trick him bechachma. The Rabbi Shmuel. These are the words of Rabbi Shmuel. You can't go ahead and boyin lo ba'akif. You can't go ahead and trick him. So, guys, if you would go ahead and not have the word anas over there, you would just have the word goy over there. It would be mashma. Guess what? Like the goyim say, the Jews are always, right? So they put in the word anas over here. That's not just a regular goy; it's a goy that's an anas. Because of the censor, we wanted to go ahead. It's very geschmack. We wanted to go ahead and make sure that this Gemara, which is going to speak about Gezel Akum, and tricking an Akum, and Khalif to tremendous school Hashem, they add the word Anos. By saying an Anos, it turns it's not every guy, it's a guy who is an Anos. And therefore the Gemara would be covered up what the halacha is. But really, even take out the word Anos, it would apply by a regular guy as well. So says Rabbi Kiva, Ein boyin lo ba'akifin mifnei kiddush Hashem. Because make a kiddush Hashem. Rabbi Kiva time of the ikka kiddush Hashem. Halakha kiddush Hashem boyin v'gazel kanani mishari. Mashma, without kiddush Hashem, you can go. You're not worried about making chil Hashem. You can go ahead and steal from a guy. But Tanya, Rabbi Shimon, Davizeh Dorish Rabbi Kiva Shabbai Miv Pasrinin. When Rabbi Kiva came from the town of Pasrinin, Minayin legezel kanani shu asa. I know it's asa to steal from a guy. Talmud Loimar. The pasuk says, Achrei. Okay. The pasuk says, Achrei nimcha geula tiyaloi. Here's the whole parsha, guys. It's in Vayikra Chafei Mem Zayin. Hisasi gat ger v'toishav imach, and you'll have a ger and a toishav with you. Umach achicha imoi, and he will be poor. Your brother will be poor. V'nimcha leger toishav imach. He'll be sold to a ger toishav. Oy le'eker mishpachas ger. We'll see what that means in a second. Achrei nimcha geula tieloi. Echav mi'echav yigalena. Don't let him stay by the guy, the ger toishav or the eker guy. Go ahead and redeem him. Okay, go ahead and redeem him. So that's what we're speaking about over here. So it says, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to go ahead. How do you know you can't steal from a guy? Talmud Leima, achrei nimcha gula, achrei nimcha, after you sold, gula tielo on the base. What does that mean? Shalim shachenu v'yetze, says Rashi, Kleimar, shlo yatziuhu bezdin, miyad akuti ela begula. Guys, if Gezel Akim was mutter, go take back your brother from the guy. Ella, why do you see gula tieloi? What is it teaching us? When where Bezdin's in charge, the Jews are in first place, and you'll be able to take him physically away. You don't. You go give money. Why? Because Gezel Akim is asa. So you have right. Yachol, I might think Yigolem Olav. Rashi says for more money. Tosfos says for less money. Talmud Leima v'chishivim kanehu. Go ahead and you make a cheshbon. The right cheshbon, exactly right. You dagdim in kanehu. You go ahead and you medagdik with the one who acquired him. So what do you see? You have a kasha. On one hand, Mashma Rebbe Kiva said, if you could go ahead and get him beharama, is it not going to be a chilul Hashem? Go ahead and do it. Mashma Gezel Akim would be permitted. And over here it says Mashma Gezel Akim is not permitted. You have a stira in Rebbe Akiva. You have a stira in Rebbe Akiva. Again, guys, this sugya obviously is way beyond the scope of the share. I mean, it's a huge sugya. Anyway, Amalei Abaya, Amar Rav Yosef Lekasha, Ha B'Kanani. When's it mutter to steal from? That's B'Kanani, Bar Rama. Ha B'Ger Toshav. That one's speaking about Ger Toshav. Now, here's the problem. This whole parsha of Gula Tielo was speaking about a Jew that was sold not only to a Ger Toshav, it was sold to a guy too. Again, what does the parsha say? V'chi sasig yad ger v'toshav imach u'moch achicha imoi v'nimcha leger toshav imach oy le'eker mishpachas ger. Says Abaya, but Rabbi Gabi Adadi Kasivi, both ger toshav and goy was said by the parsha of Evet Kanani. Loy lecha elo leger shenemar leger v'loy leger shenemar leger v'loy leger tzedek. Not only a ger tzedek, a Jewish convert, a goyish convert, elo leger toshav, a ger that was not a convert. Right. He lives among us. He's not over with the Zara, and he's oichel nevelis. Shenemar leger toshav. Mishpachas ger. When it says mishpachas ger, it's oivik kechavim. Kishoyma oile eker zeh nimchala avodas kechavim. Imam is sold to the avodah zara itself. So what do you see, guys? In the parsha ger toshav, right? In the parsha of Eved Ivri being sold to a Gentile, it's lav dafka ger. It also means ger toshav. It means a Gentile also. So back to the original question. You can't answer Rabbi Akiva, kan be ger toshav, kan be Ovid kechavim, because even in the parsha of Eved Ivri, it said Ovid kechavim. So therefore, it should be what? Permitted. It should be asa, to steal from a guy. El Amarava, to answer the steer, says Rav Lekasha. Kan be gezeloi, one is aser. The kan be hafkos halvasai, and one is to go ahead and you hold back the payment. In other words, to steal outright the price, that would be asa. But if it's something that's owed, then you can go ahead and hold it back. In other words, that's where it allows for the harama to take place, where it's not that you're taking an object from him, but it's more like you're doing using chachma to hold back payment. The Eved Ivri, guys, is you're not. It says, guys, in the parsha Eved Ivri, it says gula tielo, you have to pay, correct? But an Eved Ivri is only lent. He doesn't own the Eved, does he? Fellas, an Eved Ivri that is by a guy, he's not owned. It's not like Pshat, the guy owns him. Pshat is his actions are on loan to the guy. His actions are on loan to the guy, right? He's working off an amount of money, right? He's working off. It's like a loan by the guy. So if you're telling if you're telling me that to work off a loan, you're permitted to go ahead and that would be permitted, then it doesn't make any sense. Because the whole pasuk that we brought, the Gezel Akim is Asa, is by Hafkas al Basai. It is by Eved Ivri. Gulati Eloi. Pay him, don't take him out. He's not owned by the guy. So your teretz rabbi that you're giving doesn't make any sense. To tell me that it's Asa, when is that? That's Ira Gezela. To tell me it's Mutter Rabbi Akiva, that's where Hafkas al Basai. But go for the pasuk that we're learning. Go for the pasuk that we're learning out. That there's a din of Gezela is speaking about Hafkas al Vasley, the loan of the guy, of the Eved Ivri to the guy. As I framed the Gemara. And for the Gemara, Rav, who gave this teres, goes to Shitasai. Rav l'tamei dama Rava Eved Ivri gufa kanei. An Eved Ivri is taka owned. It's not a halva. He's taka owned by the guy. Amar Rav Bibi bar Agidol, Amar Rav Shimon Chasida, Gezel Kanani Asa, to steal from the guy is Asa, Avedasa Muteres, his Aved is Muta. Gezel Asa, now we bring in another pasuk, not Eved Ivri. Dam Rav Huna Menayin leGezel Kanani Shu Asa, Shnemar, V'achalt es kol ha'amim, asher Hashem Elokecha noisen lecha, Bizman shehein misurim b'yadecha, v'loi bizman shehein misurim b'yadcha. When do you go ahead and you can take from them? That's in battle. I mean, the time they're being given over to your hands. The time they're not giving over to your hands, then what? Then bisman she'enim mutzam b'yadecha avedasa mutar. Lo bisman she'enim b'yadecha en. Bisman she'enim mutzam b'yadecha, they're permitted. Lo bisman she'enim b'yadecha. So therefore, gezel akim is asa. How? What about avedasa muteres? The Amarav Chama bar Guri Amarav minayil avedis kanani shum muteres. Because what does the pasuk say? What does the pasuk say? The to all the Vedas of your brother, that was lost from him, and it was found by you. You're not able to close your eyes and say, I never saw it. You're not able to close your eyes and said, I never saw it. So Gezel Akim is Asr, Avedis Akim to keep is Mutter. Okay. I would think that's only when it doesn't come to your hands. In other words, if you see it, you don't have to pick it up and go after him. If you see it, you don't have to pick it up and go after him. When it does come to your possession, I would think that you should return it. So Ravu Matzasa. What is Matzasa? The pasuk says the Asli Yada Mashma came to what? His hand already. Pinchas ben Yoy Oimer. The Malkam Shiyas Chil Hashem, the place with the Chil Hashem, Afilo Avidasa Asa. Even Avidasa is Asa. It's very interesting. Before we used the word Kiddush Hashem, and here we say Chil Hashem. Okay, so just the Rambam, guys, the lashon of the Rambam. The Rambam in Yud Aleph from Hilchas Aveda, Halacha Gimel. Avedis Akam, Avedis Ovid Akam Muteres. Shnemar, Avedis Achicha. Not only, guys, is it muta, but if you return it, harisa oiver avera. Now, what are they going to do? They're going to go ahead and they're going to thank the avodah zarah. They're going to thank the avodah zarah. So, in other words, you'll be over avera if you give it back to them. The says the Rambam, mechzira lekadosh Hashem. But if you return it for the purpose of being mekadosh Hashem, kidei sheyifaru es Yisrael, that Yisrael should be glorified. Yedu sheheim bali amuna, and to show that they want the Bnei Yisrael are the conscious of the world. Hari said meshubach. That is meshubach. So the Rambam didn't say makam yeshchil Hashem. He said even if you want to make a kiddush Hashem. How many times did you hear? I remember last year there was a truck was opened up and there was bills flying all over the place, and it was a yeshiva across the street, and the money flew into the yeshiva, and the kids picked it up. And they returned it to the truck, and it made big news. It made big news. It was like big news. What's the big news? What's the big news? I mean, it's not yours. It's an Aveda. Now, could have they kept it? Probably. Halachically, yeah. Right? But a chance to Mekadosh to shame, go for it. Says the Rambam, a chance to Mekadosh to shame, go for it. They know these things. I have a doctor. He was on, there was a show, I forgot the show, is they would set up, it wasn't Canon camera. It was a show, they set up something. So there was a $50 bill in the street, and they had on it a deposit slip. And people were going by, and they were picking up the $50, and they kept it. They walked away. They kept the $50 like nothing. My doctor, Fred Grunside, made the news. Why? He picked up the $50, he looked at the deposit slip, and he went back to the bank. And he said, look, this is whoever account is this, that's their money. It made the news. It's interesting. The guy, how ironic, guys. The guy's expectation of us would be a chilul Hashem if we didn't do it. Conversely, they would never do it in a million years. They, of course, would take the money. They accuse the Jew of being money hungry, and we know the Jew will not take what doesn't belong to him. If he's a God-fearing Jew, he's not going to take what doesn't belong to him. I find it so ironic in what Gufu we're so falestachin, they accuse us of being what? Because of the white collar crime that transpires. Again, they're guilty, is also guilty. But I find it's very geschmack that in Gufa, the way to Mekadesh Hashem is returning something that they would have a tremendous time before. I heard once that they asked a ger, you had Zayim Mrs. Ben Noach, which is the hardest one to keep? The hardest one to keep was Gazela. That was the hardest one to keep. The hardest one to keep was Gazela. You think, I don't know, Rayas or something? No, the hardest one to keep was Gazela. So that's the Rambam. Again, the Lashon of the Rambam. The im hechsiru lekadosh Hashem. If you bring it back to Mekadosh Hashem, Kidei sheyifaru es Yisrael, in order that not that the Jew should, the Goyim should see sheyifaru, they should see the splendor, they should see the hodar, they should see the elevation of the Jew, the Yedu Shein Bali Amuna, and they'll realize the Jew are what? They're believers. There's a higher calling. We're not serving money. We're the conscience of the world. Then Harizeh Meshubach, says the Rambam, that is Meshubach. Ubemakam sheis chil Hashem avedasa yasura v'chayav lachzira. In a place where it's a chil Hashem, then the aved is asa to keep and you chayav lachzira. So in other words, there's a distinction, guys, between kiddush Hashem and chil Hashem. It's going back to the ha'orah I made before. If you know for sure that they're going to know that it's you who took it, then it's a chil Hashem is going to take place. Not only is it mutter, it's usher. It's usher to keep them. The Rambam saying, even the place it's mutter, if you want to be Mekadesh Hashem, return it. Two dinim. If you know a chil Hashem will take place, then this din is off of Avedas and Muteres. It's not mutter, it's usher. Because a chil Hashem could take place. Right? Says the Rambam, Machnisim Kelehem Ve'aganovim. If you see a kli of a goy and you know someone's going to steal it, you bring it into your house, b'fnei darkei shalom. So it comes out, there's two dinim, right? There's the din of Avedis Akom being mutter, when there won't be a chil Hashem. And even when it's mutter, if a kiddush Hashem will take place, Harizem Meshubach to return it. In a place where there will be a chil Hashem, then it's asa. That's Aved. That's a little time spent on the Aveda of an Akom. The next thing is, again, Tanya Pinchas ben Yoimem b'makom sheish chil Hashem afila b'dasa yasa amashmul to usum muteres. Ta'is akum is muta. Ta'is akum is, in other words, if a guy makes a mistake in cheshbon, right? It's muta. You go to the simple way. You're going to what? You go to the checkout counter. They give you too much cash in return. Al pi halacha, you're able to keep it. Al pi halacha, you're able to keep it. But it's mutter. It's mutter. It's mutter. Twice is mutter. However, I'll share with you something. I'll just give you a few cases, then we'll speak a little bit about this. It said, Shmuel went ahead and he bought from a kuti. He bought from a guy. He bought a bowl. And the bowl was, he thought he was buying. The guy thought he was selling him copper, and really what it was gold. A gold bowl, and he gave him the price of a copper bowl. And Shmuel, this is machlokes what he did, but let's go with the machlokes. Let's go with he didn't put in a zuz, he put in extra zuz. He put an extra zuz in case the guy to make him leave quickly. One shot is, I saw, he'll give him an extra zuz, they'll run away quickly. So he won't realize what he did. Another one is that he'll go ahead, and if he realizes this was a mistake, then he won't think Shmuel made a mistake in money. He also made a mistake thinking that it was gold, copper, not gold. In other words, not that he'll think that Shmuel outdid him by going ahead and taking gold. So by going ahead and giving him extra money, he could say, just like I made a mistake in the cheshbon, I made a mistake thinking it's gold when it was copper. Make copper when it was gold. Yes, Heshi.
Wouldn't Shmuel have because of who he was as Shmuel the Amora would have had to be totally above board because of unlike a regular person?
I don't know. But again, he had a heter. I don't know. Rav Kahana, Zavim Mikute Meya Ve'esem Chavita Meya. He bought 120 for 100. He gave him the price of 100 for 120. Bavle Chazuz, and he also put an extra zuz, Amalei, and he told the guy, Chazi da'aloch kasamichna. I'm samech on you. I'm not keeping the cheshbon. You keep the cheshbon. You keep the cheshbon. Ravina Zavim Dikla, Hu V'kuti L'tzalacha. Ravina and the Kuti, they were going ahead. They bought a palm tree and they were cutting it up. So Amalei the Shammai told the Shamis, Ravina told the Shamis, Kodem ba'isi meikar. Go take from the roots. They each taking 10 pieces. So he told him, go take from the lower pieces, which are thicker. The kute mina yada. He only thinks about the numbers. So he'll get 10, I'll get 10, but I'll get the thicker 10. So these are examples of taking advantage of a situation where, again, it's not, I guess no one's going to realize it. And Shmuel was covering himself over there. Ravashi, Ravashi was going in the way. Chazi Shivsha, the Gufna of Paradisa, he saw the cluster of grapes. It was right, they were hanging from a branch. So Amalei the Shammai told the Shamis, Sil Chazi the Kuti Ninu Esoi. Go see if it's a Kutim, bring him to me. Idi Yisrael Ninu Loi Isli. If Yisrael, don't bring it to me. Now, the Pashas the Gemara, he's saying, go steal from the guy, and if it's a Jew, don't steal. However, Rav Ashi didn't realize that Shamu Kuti the Havi Yasib Hardisa, the owner of the Kuti, was sitting right there, and he heard what Shmuel told. Rav Ashi told his Shamis. So Amalei, so he told Rav Ashi, the Kuti Shari. The kuti is permitted. So Amalei, kuti shakel demei, Yisrael is shakel demei. You missed my point. If it's a Jew, a kuti, bring it to me. Why? Because I'll pay him for it. But if it's a Jew, right, he won't let me give him money, so I won't take it from him. But not chas v'shalom that he was going to go ahead right in. Okay, now the din of tois akum, guys. This is very, very fascinating. Smashma tois akum is permitted, like it's okay. There's a very famous piece. This is it's a Beragoyla in Choshen Mishpat, Shin Mem Ches. Shin Mem Ches. So I have it here for you over here. This is Chosav Harav Hamagid, Chosa Kirav Kahana, Sham, the Ovid, Heichen, the Ayin La'el, Simin Reish Samechvav, V'she'im hichser ha'aveda la'akom l'kadosh Hashem, and if he returns the aveda for the purpose of mekadosh Hashem, kedei sheyifaru es Yisrael, the lashon of the Rambam, in order that the Yisrael should be glorified, v'yedu shein bali amuna, harizem mishubach adkan, v'chein adin b'chazri hatois. The same din would apply to returning ta'as akum, guys. Shetoah akum ba'atzmai. That if the guy made the mistake himself, that is mutter, the same halacha would apply of returning it for Kiddush Hashem. Ba'ani kaisiv zois l'dairos. Says the Beragoyla, I'm writing this for generations. Shari'isi Rabim, this word is Godlo. Shari'isi Rabim Godloi, who got big, shiru and wealthy, min tois shehitnu ma'akom, from a mistake that the guy made, v'loi hitzlichuhu, and they were not matzliach. And all their property was lost. And there was not left afterwards what? A bracha. Nothing was left afterwards. Many that were Mekadosh the Shem, and they returned to Tasakum, B'dav Choshev, Godloi, B'Shiroi, B'Tzlichoi, B'Nicham Yisram La'oleim. They left over a lot to their children. Right? That's the even though Toas Akim is mutter, says the Beragoyla, he saw with his own eyes that people who took advantage of Toas Akim, they did not have atzlacha. Their money, they all lost all of it. And people who went ahead and returned to Toas Akim, they were zeicha that what the money stayed in their mishpacha, and they were godly, they became wealthier and wealthier. So Ma'aser Rav Pam Zechat Tzadik Kodesh L'Bracha Schus Yogan Aleinu, that one of his talmidim was mistakenly given $50,000 by the bank. And I don't know, again, the pratim, so don't ask me. It was a way that the bank couldn't possibly have been able to go ahead and figure it out. And he would have been able to go ahead and take the $50,000. He would have been able to take the $50,000. He went to Rav Pam, and Rav Pam told him, and he returned it. I'm sure Rav Pam told him this Beragoyla, and he returned it. So when it comes to money, the opportunity, I think, to be Mekadesh Hashem is very great. Because since B'derech Teva, a goy in nature, as I just said, is going to keep the money for himself. He's going to keep the money for himself. He's going to keep the money for himself. When Mela, restoring it and giving it back is a tremendous thing. Giving it back, whether it's Aveda, whether it's Tois Akum. There was a Maisa about a girl who was a lost soul. She went to Israel looking for herself, and they told her to go to Neve. Go to Neve. Neve is a school for female Bali Tshuva. She went there and she heard this whole class about Hashavas Aveda. Whole class about Hashavas Aveda. It didn't turn her on, and she continued on a quest to find the happiness. She ended up in India with a guru, and one day she's walking along with the guru, and there's a wallet in the street, and the guru picks up the wallet and tells her, "This is my lucky day." She goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Whatever the Avodah Zarah wants me to be wealthy. He gave me this wallet full of money." And the girl said, "Aren't you going to look for the owner?" He goes, "No, it was given to me." And the girl remembered that class that she heard in the Vay. She heard that class in the Vay about a Shabbos Aveda. And that brought her back to Yiddishkeit. You see, to go against the natural nature of a person in this desire for money can go ahead and accomplish a tremendous amount when it comes to going ahead and bringing closer to Hashem and making people realize that we are the Am HaNivchar. So despite the fact that Avedas Akum is mutter, despite the fact that Tois Akum is mutter, when the situation arises that a person can make a Kiddush Hashem, right? Because again, this is a situation that the guy will realize the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's an opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity. And that's why you hear these stories. And they make hear these stories. What makes the news? If someone in a taxi returned $10,000. Because Derech Teva, there's no way a person's doing it. But when a person does it, it becomes this huge news. Anyway, that's the sugya. Basically, a few hours. Again, this sugya is very great, but this is at least a musa haskell that we could take from the sugya. Gufa, right? Gufa. Amar Shmuel. Dina Malchusadina. We said Dina Malchusadina. Amar Rava Teida. How do you know Dina Malchusadina? The Kotle Dikle Vigoshre Gishre. They cut down palm trees for the king, and they make a bridge. And we have enough from the bridge, even though it's stolen. We go over the bridge. So therefore, you see Dina Malchusadina, that he's able to cut it down and use it. And therefore, we use it. We could use it because Dina Malchusadina, the person he took it from, it's not considered what? Geneva. Amalei Abaya. Maybe Dina Malchusa is not the reason. Maybe the reason is because the owner was miyayish, and that's why we can use it. Samalei, Iloi Dina Malchusadina. If it's not Dina Malchusa, why would he give up? Why would he be miyayish? Right? But Rashi brings out, if you look at Rashi, Heichem Yayish, Klema, we have a yish, right? Would his yish be a good yish? A yish kedihu, it's yish kedi, and you don't have shini maisa. They can shini rishus. Shebashus rabim hein, shini maisa nami leka. The hashtanami guva the dikla mikri. It still has the shame guva the dikla on it. We saw earlier. It's still called a log of palm. It's still called palm. So in Mela, you'd have only yish. Rashi says you don't have shini rishus, and you don't have shini Hashem, which usually accompanies what? A yish in order to facilitate the transfer of ownership. So therefore, the whole reason you'll be able to use it is Dina Malchusadina. So of they kidama malka, but they didn't do what the malka said, because what they did was the king says malka amasil of a kitlu mikol bogey. The king says to go collect from what? From every place in the valley. Don't go ahead and just collect from one place. Collect from every place in the valley, not just from one place. And what did they do? The inu osli v'katlu michad baga, and they went and they cut from one place. So l'chayra, it's not din d'machusadina. So why could you use the bridge? Says the Gemara, shlucha de malka kemalka v'leitarach. The shliach de malka, he's like the king himself. You're not going to have to go to every place in the valley. You know what he's going to do? He's going to cut from one person, and every person in the valley will reimburse that person. That's what he's supposed to do. So you have 10 people living in the valley. The shliach's not going to go from 1 to 10 gathering logs. He's going to go to the closest one that's to the river. He's going to cut down those the trees from there, and then let the other 9 people in the valley reimburse one for his loss. That's what they're supposed to do. This person who had cut from him, he by not going to the rest of the people of the valley, he's causing his own loss. So he should go collect from the valley. Amar Rabba says, Rava, man de mishtachei bebeidari para months for the malka. If a person goes ahead, he finds himself in the beidari. That's where they would go ahead and thresh the grain, right? He would pay what? The tax for all the partners. He would pay the tax to the partners. But he really should for only if they're partners, and they would reimburse him. Aval Risa, if it's a sharecropper, then a risusa who the mapik. If they take the king takes the share from the sharecropper, then that's gazela. Why is that gazela? Is because he doesn't own land, so he doesn't have to pay the tax. The sharecropper. So since he doesn't have to pay the tax, if you go ahead and you would, and if you buy from the tax collector who collected from this arisa, that would be gazela. That's not dina chusadina because he's not supposed to take from the arisa. The arisa doesn't own land, so if he would, it would be gazela in his hand. Rava barmata abba abarmata mi abit. Barmarta abarmata mi abit. If you have what? You have a land, and it belongs to one person, barmarta, who lives in the city, and it's taken for a mashkin for another person of the city vis-a-vis taxes. So you can go ahead, what? And if you look at Rashi says, barmarta abarmata ma'abit, reshus biyad Yisrael gabei hamelech, Mashkin ben oir al mas ben oir chaveroi. He can go ahead and he can take a mashkin for one person for the other person. It's only the tax for the land and the tax where they had a head tax. Aval shata the cholif. It's not for that current year. It's for the past years. Hoyel v'fayis malka cholif. Since the king has been pacified for previous years, you won't be able to go ahead and collect that money. That money will be gazela. Bamarava, hani de daire dari. Those people, they fertilize the field for money. You pay them money, they'll fertilize your field. If it's within the chum, it's also to go ahead and to buy an animal from them. It's also to buy an animal from these people, right? Why? Because I guess they steal the animals. My timer, mishum de arba chevasa de masabadayu. The people of the city. The animals of the people of the city get mixed in with their animals. And therefore, you don't know that you're buying an animal that might be stolen. Chutz l'tchum, but ever if they fertilize people outside the tchum, then mutter likach lehem. Then it would be mutter. You know why? Ravina, if you see the owner of the animal running after them, that what? It would be asa, because again, you know that it's a stolen animal. Machis Rava, V'Tamer Rav Huna. Rava, some say it was Rav Huna, was Machris, it called out publicly. The Solkin Le'ela, Udinachisa Lesata, those going from Babel to the Solkin Le'ela, they're going up to Eretz Yisrael, and those coming down from Eretz Yisrael to Babel. Haibar Yisrael, the Yodas Adusa, Lekutev Leitovamine. If a Yid knows, he knows for a Goy, he knows testimony, and he wasn't asked to testify. The Osel, V'Asadle, Bedine, the Kute Al Yisrael Chave, and he goes, like Mishabtin Le, put him in Cherem. In other words, he wasn't asked to testify, but he knows. On his own accord, he goes ahead and testifies. We put him chayra. My time, what's the reason? Dinu mafik min because what? The guy is going to take money away from this guy's, and right, apuma dechad. On even though we need two people to mafik money, this guy is like a master in a way, right? He's causing money of a year to be taken away by the court of a guy based upon one witness. We don't say this except if he's the only witness. I will betray loy, right? But with two witnesses, right? If there are two witnesses and he's not going to map money, then he could testify. Only if his testimony is going to take out money, can't he testify? But if you need two and he's one, then he could. And chad nami lo yamaron ella bedine de mega kista. Okay, what does that mean? Let's say you have what? You have one witness, and Rashi says it's Bnei Kfar. It's a village. And if there's only one witness, and it's by the kangaroo court of the village, Avol Bar Dava, but it's a government court. Inu nami chara amusa shadibe. They go ahead and they won't go ahead and take money. So it's only when we say that one person would take money, it's only in this like small town court. But a real court that's run by the government, even one person would not be Moitzi Mammon, and therefore you'd be able to testify for the guy. Rabashi, Ki Avina be Rav Huna, when I was by Rav Huna, Iboilon, he asks us the following question. Adam Choshev, the Samchi Alayu Kibet Trey. If the court, the government court, even though they're not Saimich, they need two. But let's say a person, you're one, and they'll consider you two. Mafke Memoina Pume. Do we say that on his testimony, he'll only take out one money, and therefore he won't be able to testify? Boile Sude. Idilma, even the Adam Chashvu, since the Adam Chashvu, like Matzi Mishamale, he won't go away from them. So do we view, in other words, are we worried that his testimony is going to take out money? And even if it's going to take out money, on the other hand, how could he's a chashva person and it's not possible to escape not testifying? What's the din? Does he testify or not? On that, Gemara answers, "Vad Teku." The mother says that Shaila will remain. The Gemara says, "Teku." You want to make it to the Mishnah? Ravashi. Hi bar Yisrael, the Zovan le Ara, Loivet Kechavim, a mitzvah the bar Yisrael Chave. Now, we know there's a din of bar mitzvah, that if you have a field and there's another person, that you get first dibs. In order to expand your field, you get first rights to buy the field, right? So you have a Yid, he sold the field to a guy, and it borders the field of a fellow Yid. Misham Tinalei, we put him in Cherem. Misham Tinalei, you put him in Cherem. Obviously, you should have sold it to the Yid. My timer. If you say it's a dinner by mitzvah, that what he gets first dibs. If you buy from a guy and you sell to a guy, mitzvah. So the havamina is that what? That you bought it from a guy and you sold it to a guy. So why would it be a dinner by mitzvah? Why do we say? The reason why we put him in chayrim is arbisali arya amitzvah. You put a lion on my border. By you going ahead and I'm selling it to a guy, you're putting a guy what on my border, and he's going to harm me. And therefore, Mishampinale had the kabbalah called unsa the asim mechamasei. They put him in chayrim until the person who sold it says, anything that happens to you as a result of the guy, I'll go ahead and compensate you for that. And therefore, they would put him in chayrim until he agrees to that. Once he puts him in chayrim, then it would be okay. Okay, guys, again, very fast stuff, a lot of stuff, but have a great Shabbos. Let's learn, let's say a Kapitel Hillim.